Welcome back to the Thinkers Club. So, today we are beginning with the most important topic in Indian polity, that is the Union Executive. And in this lecture, we will focus on the President of India. Now, you need to remember this line I'm telling you in the starting of the presentation, that is, President is the head of the state, but not head of the government. Okay? Make sure you write this line in the comment section that President is the head of the state, not the head of the government. Now, okay, let's begin with a very basic but important term, that is, what is Union Executive? Okay, whenever we talk about government, there are three main parts: legislature, executive, judiciary. And today we are focusing on the executive. The Union Executive refers to the executive branch of the central government of India, which is responsible for implementing laws, running administration, managing the day-to-day governance of the country. So, Parliament makes laws, but the executive makes sure those laws are actually implemented. Okay? The Union Executive gives its power, I'm sorry, the Union Executive gets its power from Part 5 of the Constitution. Okay, and it works under the parliamentary system of government. So the Union Executive is not just one person, it has almost four key components. That is the President, Vice President, Prime Minister, and the Council of Ministers. The President is the nominal head of the state, meaning that all the executive actions are taken in the name of the President. Vice President is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Prime Minister is the most important. He is the real executive head, and actual power lies with the Prime Minister. Okay. And the Council of Ministers, these are the ministers who help and advise the Prime Minister as well as the President. So together, the President, Vice President, Prime Minister, and Council of Ministers form the apex executive authority of India. Okay, executive is not just about making laws, executive is about making the system work. And that's why understanding the Union Executive is key to understanding that how India actually runs. Now we want to understand the position of the President of India. Many students get confused over here. Is the president powerful or not? Now let's clear this for once and all. The president of India is the head of the state. Okay. This means that he represents the nation, and the president, he or she, is a symbol of unity, integrity, and sovereignty. Now, the president is the face of India at the national as well as the international level. Okay. Now comes the most important term, that is nominal executive. What does that mean? All executive actions are taken in the name of the president, but the president does not exercise real power. The real executive power lies with the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Okay? So, President is the nominal head and Prime Minister is the real head. According to Article 53, all executive powers are formally vested in the President. Okay, but in practice, they are exercised by the government. Now, the most important article, that is Article 74, it says that President must act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. So the President cannot act independently in some cases. This makes the President a constitutional figurehead, meaning that not involved in daily decision making, works with constitutional limits. So don't misunderstand that just because the President is nominal does not mean that the role is unimportant. The president represents the nation, maintains constitutional continuity, ensures democratic legitimacy. So, president is the constitutional head, but the real executive power lies with the prime minister, and that balance is what makes Indian democracy stable. And the constitutional foundation of the president of India. Where does the president get its power from? The answer lies in the Constitution itself. First, Article 52. There shall be a President of India. Now, this might look simple, but it is very important because this article creates the office of the president. It establishes the existence of the post, the highest constitutional authority of the country. Without Article 52, there would be no president because it clearly says that there shall be a president of India. It is the foundation of the Union Executive. Next is Article 53. This says that the executive power of the Union is vested in the President. This means all executive powers officially belong to the President. But here's a twist which confuses a lot of people. Does the President actually use its power? Yes, it does, but not directly. Article 53 also says that the power can be exercised directly or through officers subordinate to the President. So in reality, these powers are exercised by the Prime Minister as well as the Council of Ministers. So if we connect Article 52 and 53 together, they define the constitutional provision or position of the President of India. Office is established, powers are assigned, system is structured. So something you need to remember is that President is the constitutional holder of the executive powers, but the actual exercise is done by the government. Now let's talk about the election of the president. So the first thing you need to understand is that the president is not elected directly. He is elected indirectly. Citizens do not have the right to vote to the president. Instead, elected representatives vote on behalf of the people. Now, this group of representatives is known as the Electoral College, and this is one of the most important concepts. The Electoral College consists of elected members of Lok Sabha, elected members of Rajya Sabha, and elected members of the state legislative assemblies. Only elected members participate, not nominated members. Now there will be many questions like why not direct elections? Because the president represents both the union and the state. So the system ensures balanced federal representation. The election follows proportional representation with single transferable vote. Now this ensures fair representation, equal weight to the states, wider acceptance of candidates. So the goal is not just to elect a winner, the goal is to elect a candidate with broad national support. President is elected indirectly by an electoral college using proportional representation and single transferable vote, and this system maintains the balance between democracy and federalism in India. So now let's go deeper into the election process. The electoral college is someone the electoral college has a composition and they voted, and this includes elected members of the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative assemblies. Only the elected representatives can participate. Nominated members cannot participate, and this system ensures representation of both the union, the state, as well as maintains federal balance. Now comes a very important concept, that is, not all votes are equal. Okay, because the states have different populations. So here's the formula written. So each MLA's vote value is calculated using this formula. Okay, more population is equals to more vote value. That's very simple. Now for MPs, their vote value is calculated differently. So the MLA, we have this. For MPs, what happens is that the total value of the MLA's vote is divided by the total elected MPs. Okay, so what's the goal here? It's to balance power between the states and the parliament. The election uses single transferable vote, which means voters rank candidates in order of preference. Okay, this ensures fair representation. No vote is wasted. Winner gets majority support. So president is not elected by simple majority. He is elected through a system that ensures broad national acceptance. Every vote has a value, but that value is calculated carefully to maintain balance. And this entire system reflects the federal and democratic nature of India. Now, this is a very straightforward concept, the qualification of the president of India. So direct questions are coming from these topics. To become the president of India, candidate must fulfill certain constitutional requirements. That is, he must be a citizen of India, and no foreign national can hold this office. Secondly, the candidate must be at least 35 years old. And the third condition is that the person must be qualified to become a member of the Lok Sabha, and the candidate must not hold any office of profit. This includes government jobs, state authority positions, local authority positions. This is just to ensure the independence. Conditions of office of the president is first and most important condition is that the president cannot hold any other office of profit. This means that he cannot take up any government job or position while being the president. This is to prevent the conflict of interest and to ensure that complete dedication is there from the president towards the country and the constitutional duties. And this also ensures that the dignity and independence of the highest office in India is maintained. And the official residence of the president is the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and one of the largest residences of any head of the state in the world. The president also receives salary, allowances, and privileges, and these are decided and fixed by the parliament through law. In addition, the president gets security, pension benefits, official facilities. So overall, these conditions ensure that the president remains independent, works without an influence, and maintains the dignity of the office. Now let's talk about the oath and affirmation of the President of India. Before assuming the office, the President must take the oath. This is something you need to know. And the oath is just a formal constitutional promise that the President will perform duties honestly and faithfully. And the oath is mentioned under Article 60 of the Constitution. And this is very important for exams. The President promises to faithfully execute the office, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, follow the law, and these are the core responsibilities. The oath is administered by the Chief Justice of India, and in his absence, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court does this. Okay. Now, the term of office of the President of India. This is a very important but a straightforward concept. So, the President of India holds office for 5 years, as we all know, and this is mentioned under Article 56 of the Constitution. And the date on which President enters the office, the 5-year term begins. Okay, and the President is eligible for re-election. Yes, this is something important. The President can be re-elected, and so a person can become President multiple times. Another very important concept is the continuity of office. Even after completing 5 years, the president continues in the office until the next president takes charge. This is to ensure that no vacancy in the highest constitutional office is there, and the president can also resign by writing a letter to the vice president of the India. Now we come to the somehow important topic, that is removal of the president, and this is done through a process called impeachment. And this is given in Article 61 of the Constitution. And this ensures accountability of the president while maintaining the dignity of the office. The president can be removed only on one ground, that is violation of the Constitution. No other ground is mentioned in the Constitution. No misconduct, no incapacity, no criminal charges, nothing. Only if the constitutional things are violated or the Constitution is violated. The impeachment process can be started in either House of the Parliament, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, and the proposal must be signed by at least one-fourth member of that House, and a 14-day notice must be issued to the President. Then the resolution must be passed by a special majority. This is two-thirds of the total membership. And after this, the House investigates the charges, also passes the resolution with special majority. Then the President is removed from the office from the date of passing the resolution. This is a very strict process just to prevent the misuse of power. And that's all. Now, the last concept, that is what happens if the office of the President becomes vacant. So this is a very practical and important concept. The office of the president can become vacant due to death, resignation, or the process of impeachment that we discussed. In such situations, the vice president becomes the acting president, and this is mentioned under Article 65 of the Constitution. Okay, the vice president performs all the functions of the president until a new president is elected, and the election to fill the vacancy must be held within 6 months. The newly elected president gets full 5-year long term and from the date they assume the office. And in another situation, what if the president is alive but unable to perform duties, for example, illness or absence? In that case also the vice president performs the functions until the president resumes duty. So whether it's permanent vacancy, temporary absence, the vice president ensures continuity. Okay. Tomorrow we'll be discussing other things like the powers of the president, executive power, legislative power, financial power, judicial power, pardoning power, diplomatic power, military power, emergency power, many power, veto power, etc., and the role of the president in the Indian democracy. All this will be covered tomorrow. So till then, thank you. Have a nice day.